Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm in Los Angeles and today we're gonna restyle this beautiful prostrata juniper grafted kishu. I styled this prostrata juniper 10 years ago on my first trip in Los Angeles when this tree had still the original foliage. Uh, this prostrata actually was collected by my friend Hank, and he was the manager of the Playboy Mansion. So there was this prostrata juniper growing in the front yard, in the garden of the Playboy Mansion, and actually this one, he told me, was in a corner, and every year he got a car running on top of the trees and basically creating a beautiful trunk with a lot of that wood liveline. And so he decided to collect the tree almost 25 years ago, and now we have this beautiful material. As you can see on this picture, this was when I refined the tree for him to present on a show. And after that, because prostrata juniper is a little bit leggy foliage, very thick, and it's difficult to maintain in a long run. After having the original foliage for many years, we decided to graft kishu juniper to have a much better foliage. So Hank performed, I think, more than 100 cyan graft on this tree to be able to switch the foliage, but also maintaining the original structure of the tree. And now we have a lot of beautiful whips. The tree is nice and strong, and it's time to restyle it. This was the original front of the tree, but as you can see now, a lot of branches grew in this position. So we have to analyze the tree again, clean the dead wood, analyze the live line, because eventually when we graft the tree, hopefully all the live line stays alive and they actually thick up even more when they have the new foliage on it. But we have always to reanalyze. I would love to use the original front, that is this one, but after the cleaning we're gonna see and decide. So now I will start cleaning the tree, cleaning the live line, and then we're gonna see and make some decisions. I did some cleaning of the live lines and removing some of the stumps that left from the grafting. And I figure out now that you see some branches in this section that was the original back of the tree didn't took, so there's kind of an empty spot, while the other side that we was looking previously, that was the old front, is very full. I was looking at the tree from here. There is a beautiful thick live line going up and good transition with the deadwood. Actually, this part was a branch that Hank earlier many years ago, and now is a beautiful kishu juniper, another part of the tree that we graft and we created, that actually is on my YouTube channel. I left you the link up here. And I think now that the tree regrew and you see the apex is already tilting in this direction, could be the right time to change the front of this tree to highlight more the deadwood on the tree. In the other side we have many little live line, but very similar, not much deadwood, and most of the foliage is growing against the old front. So I think I'm gonna use this as a new front, transform this part of the root that is kind of a bridging up, but the main root is here, very strong. I can transform this in a gin, remove this branch, create some more deadwood in this upper part of the tree, and then frame the front using all these nice branch. I have another branch in this side that I can bring around to frame another piece of deadwood here. And then basically it's most of all about wiring the new whips and padding out the tree, creating nice rhythm and volume. So let's go for this front and start a little bit of the Deadwood work on the root and on removing this pad. I'm not afraid on removing this root because the main live line comes from this section that is pretty thick. So this is just a little part of the live line. So the tree is super strong and I'm not afraid that I'm gonna cause any dieback. But I don't want to leave this hair root, especially in the front, and it's much better to transform it in a little gin that can also create some interesting feature in this section. Transform this entire branch in a gin. It will be cool in the front, and I can also highlight this twister. I will open a shari here. I have two veins. You see the main one split basically in two, one in this position and one in this position, and I can open a shari in the middle to have more character. When I have a gin with a lot of branches like this one, I always like to simplify a little bit to not create visual confusion between all the lines. So here I left some of the gin all in kind of a different length and basically going in the same direction to have a kind of a natural but also ordered look that I prefer with the Deadwood. And now I can finish up the work on the live line. Also, removing some of these, I can go in and see more the beautiful detail into the inner part of this section that is pretty interesting with a lot of character. It's beautiful to have a thick live line here in the front, splitting in two, and then go and twist inside of the tree. It really creates a beautiful focal point for the new front that we can really frame with the green. I don't know if maybe this gene need to be shortened because I want to see more this section, and the same I can do here where the other live line go up and split. I need to clean first and then do some more shady work. Now that I just finished the work on the Deadwood, we are ready to start with the work on the foliage. So a little bit more cleaning, and then with the help of Philippe, we're gonna start wiring all the nice elongation in order to position the new pads. So you see the good thing of grafting science is that we keep all the original structure that we was building along the year, so we don't lose all that time. And then we shift the new foliage in the tips of the branches, and now we can just rebuild the pads using this elongation. And in a year or two, the tree will be back in shape, but with what they say the new dress. So let's start putting some wire to go and set the position of these whips. What we have to be careful when with scion graft is that normally the apical part is always much stronger than the lower part. So in the transition between one foliage and the other, we can be careful and always eventually prune some of the extra elongation we're gonna get to always move energy in the lower part of the branches, because otherwise this part is getting too strong and this is getting weaker. Now that all the branches are wired, what I always do, I clean the under part of the whip. I don't need that foliage. Start opening well structure just to recreate the opening of the pad. If I have some small branches, I use for the volume on top. And I rebuild the structure of my pad, cleaning well and setting. Here we are. Now that my pad is out, what I'm gonna do, I prune the tips. This will give a message back to this section that now is nice and open. I will leave this part, they will grow, fill in, and then in a year my pad will be perfect, back in shape, but with the new foliage. And then we repeat cleaning and setting all the way up until the apex, and then we reset completely the shape of the tree. Now that most of these pads start getting in position, I'm working on the transition between one volume and the other, so I need to pull in this section. So using a guide wire, I push this a little bit more towards the front, so I can create a much better transition between this part. When we pad out a tree, it's always good to create a rhythm between the pads. We have some area here is still immature, they will grow, but as you can see, I always start and move to create that transition between the pads, and the rhythm in the future will be even more highlighted because we're going to build more volume, and then we can create an interconnection between the different volumes coming from the different structural line. So this is very important. At this stage, I leave bigger spaces because I want still pads to grow. And then while the tree mature and the foliage get tighter, and we start getting some vertical shoots, they open up as a pom-pom, so they create a nice three-dimensional look. We can start refining a little bit more and reaching up the moment where the pad basically sat in position. That's why Kishu Juniper in particular and Itoigawa are very good to graft on other variety that has not such a suitable foliage, because after 2 or 3 wiring, the Itoigawa and Kishu, they set and be able to hold on their own weight, and we don't need much wire to position and refine the pads. A quick trick when we wire these spikes, using one hand as a holder and one as a twister, you can move the wire side by side, and this will help you to not crash the foliage and be able to reach inside of the branch without squishing the foliage together. You can see how the wire went in. So if I show you on this branch, my left is the holder, my right, I use the leverage and I move the wire, you see, side by side. So the wire itself is going to find its way through the green without crashing any foliage. This is a quick tip when you wire junipers, especially if you wire fast and you want to create structure. That's the best way. We are now on a good path, finishing up the tree. This section is already wired. Philippe is finishing up this branch. My goal, this was a very important branch when front was the other one. Remember always that when we design a tree, we want the first branch, so the Sashieda, coming a little bit towards the front to create an angle and welcome the view of the observer in the trunk. And we want also what is called Eda Uchieda, so the second branch, the counterbalance branch, to come and create a similar angle. So we create an angle between the two branches and we bring the eyes of the observer in the body of the tree. That is the focal point where we want the observer to look. So now I need to push this branch towards the front. So what I'm gonna do, I put a screw in the Deadwood in this position, so I can start moving the branch in the direction I want. Here we are. Sorry, 1 second, Philippe. So we wanna bring this branch in the front. Philippe, have a look at the junction here. How he's doing the junction. It's pretty flexible.
It's here in the junction.
Oh, yeah,
it's just
perfect.
a Deadwood.
Yeah, perfect. So it's separate there. And now we can bring this green framing. You see, framing the Deadwood, and then from here we can start building up our counterbalance. This is the space of my reference to have the counterbalance pad in the opposite direction. So you can see both together, they invite the view into the tree. And now we can proceed creating this pad and then side by side going up to finish the project. As you can see, we have a negative space that we always design between one of the two lower branches and the trunk. We need to bring some foliage down there in order to create a background and stop the eye of the observer to go through the tree and create three-dimensionality. So my next work will be guy wire a branch from the back and bring down in this point to see some green behind the trunk. are at the final stage of this work now. I'm compacting this side of the apex that Philippe finished wiring, and Philippe is taking care of the other side. Here we have a lot of nice and compact foliage, so it's pretty simple to create the top of the tree. And then these foliage can start maturing and get much stronger and create also some extra pads. You need always to create a good visual connection between the left side and the right side. And you see here we start having branches, they will develop towards the front, also to have a transition in the lower section. We don't need to see all the trunk, but removing some of these branches, we open up some nice focal point, and now from the side we can come in and frame with those branches that they will develop. Kishu is a very good type of tree, especially for this type of weather here in Los Angeles, hot and most of the time very dry. You just have to be careful on spider mite and treat the tree with some acaricide in order to prevent or kill spider mite attacking our tree. Always important during the growing season to look inside of the branches because most of all where the branches get a little bit shade, there is the place where spider might attack and make the most of the damage. So we have to be careful, look inside of the tree, and eventually protect the branches by spray. And here we are with the final result. The tree is very compact, already looking perfect with his lines and his pads. Really happy to be able to focus on the trunk and on the movement of that live liner. Now it's only a question of maturing the foliage, as I said, and keep maintaining and developing beautiful volumes to create rhythm. It's incredible how in 10 years since I started this tree, when still was a prostrata juniper, I was able to create a prostrata, show it, and now in the last 6 years we totally rebuild the tree with the new foliage. So if you have a tree with bad foliage, don't be scared on start the journey and change the dress of the tree, because it look long and never happening, but if you never start, you're gonna never end up with beautiful result like this. And for some variety of juniper is much better to graft and have a more reliable and aesthetically better foliage. Thank you.
Here we are with the final result. We finished the apex. And as we say in France, les jeux sont faits. Game over. And thank you for following our YouTube channel. And we'll see you at the next.